John was a loving husband and father who had a cozy existence in a small suburban town. His loving family, consisting of his wife Mary and their 2 kids, Tim and Sarah, added to his prosperous business career. Welcome to USA Stories channel. Do not forget to subscribe and activate the bell button to receive all new updates. Now let's go to the story. The eldest, Tim, was a bright and driven young man who was about to begin his first job after graduating from college. John got a call one fateful night that would alter the course of his life. The message that the police brought to him was that Tim had died in a horrible accident. The revelation shocked John and his family, who found it difficult to accept their loss. John was devastated. He was unable to come to terms with his son's passing. He was overcome with anguish and a strong yearning for answers, feeling as though a piece of himself had been torn away. He couldn't get rid of the idea that Tim's death had a deeper meaning that he wasn't being told. John pored over the police files and witness accounts for hours on end, attempting to piece together what had happened, but he was unable to come up with any explanations. He started to experience an endless loop of sadness and hopelessness, making him feel as though he was going insane. John, who was desperate for closure, came up with the peculiar plan to put a camera inside Tim's casket and keep an eye out for any odd movement or possible indications of life. John persisted with his idea in spite of his family's and friends' initial skepticism and concerns, motivated by his frantic desire for answers. He was filled with anxiety and shame as he started making plans for the camera installation. Was he taking his search for answers a bit too far? Would he come to regret his choice? He was troubled by these ideas as he thought through the effects of his strategy. John started to get consumed by his fixation with learning the truth about Tim's death. The notion that his son's death was not the result of a random accident persisted in his mind. In an attempt to understand what had transpired, he pored over the police files and witness testimony for several hours. He searched everywhere, but he was unable to locate any answers. He was trapped in a never-ending loop of sadness and hopelessness, and felt as though he was going insane. His son was alive but imprisoned in a chilly, dark dungeon, and he started to have nightmares about it. He was crying for assistance, but no one could hear him since he couldn't get to him. Every night, he woke up feeling dejected and covered in perspiration. He didn't know how to achieve closure, but he knew he had to. John saw a video of a man who had placed a camera inside the coffin of a loved one day while online cruising. The individual said that he had videotaped his deceased loved one moving and speaking to him. Though John was dubious, the concept took root in his thoughts. The idea that there could be a method to get in touch with his son persisted in his mind. John started looking into the concept and searching the internet for details. He watched many movies and read innumerable articles. They all seemed to confirm the theory that communication with the dead was feasible. This, he felt certain, was the solution he had been searching for. John was aware that his proposal was unconventional and that his friends and family would probably regard him as insane. But he couldn't get rid of the sense that this was the only way to have closure. He needed to know that Tim was at peace and that during his last minutes he had not been alone. He couldn't get rid of the idea that Tim's death had a deeper meaning that he wasn't being told. At whatever cost, he was going to find out what it was. For several days, John had been watching the video that he had placed in Tim's casket, but he had not seen anything unusual. If his sadness had affected his judgment, he was starting to question whether he had made a mistake. But then, an unexpected event occurred on the 4th night. Tim's corpse was shown on the video abruptly shifting inside the casket, and his limbs and legs jerked like he was attempting to escape. John witnessed something that astounded him. His sight shocked him beyond belief. He watched the video several times over, growing more and more certain that what he was witnessing was genuine. He had conflicting feelings. A part of him was happy that Tim had survived the accident and was not dead, but another part of him felt overwhelmed and afraid. His relatives and friends were dubious when he promptly showed them the video. They dismissed it as a camera bug or a trick of the light, but John was certain that what he saw indicated Tim's continued survival. John called the police right away and showed them the video. After being startled, they started looking into the situation. As soon as they dug out Tim's body from the grave, they discovered that he was still breathing. They discovered that he was still breathing inside the casket. The revelation perplexed the physicians. How Tim could have survived inside the casket for so long was beyond their comprehension. They sent him to the hospital right away and performed every test they could to figure out what had occurred. They discovered that Tim's uncommon medical condition had left him in a profound coma. When John learned that his kid was safe and alive, he was ecstatic. He experienced a hitherto unexperienced feeling of relief and thankfulness. His friends and family were equally ecstatic and in disbelief at the news. They were appreciative of the second opportunity to see Tim again. People all throughout the world were moved by the story of John and Tim because it touched on themes of love, hope, and tenacity. John never wavered in his resolve to uncover the truth and never gave up on his son, even while everyone else thought Tim had passed away. The amazing news of Tim's survival provided John and his family with a priceless second opportunity for a happy reunion. After making a full recovery, Tim was incredibly grateful and began to appreciate every day of his restored health, never taking anything for granted. Now that he was back in his family's lap, Tim was thankful for his second opportunity at life and savored every second of it. Please remember to subscribe to our channel, give us a thumbs up, and turn on the notification bell so you won't miss any of our videos. If you enjoyed the tale, the next video that plays on your screen will probably move you too.